Okay, so triangle is very important. I believe you guys are just familiar with it because it is the same thing. You may have seen it, okay? A 2D geometrical shape having three sides. Very simple. And it should be closed, okay? If I say there is a triangle like this one, let me just draw it. This thing has three, you can say, sides, but it is never a triangle because it is open over here, okay? It is never closed. So triangle should be closed because it is 2D geometrical shape. Let's say we have different types of triangles, okay? Some are based on sides, some are based on angles. Now, as you can see, we have scalene, then we have isosceles, equilateral, acute, right angle triangle, obtuse. I'm not going to waste my time with this because you should study these things, okay? I'll be just working an example. Let's say we have a right angle triangle. Now, area a right angle triangle can be 1/2 base times perpendicular. Now, if you remember base times perpendicular, it was just area of a rectangle. If you remember, let's say this is base, this is perpendicular. Now, as you can see, a right angle triangle, hello, are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
So a right angle triangle is actually half of a rectangle. You can see it. That's why we can just, let's say if we have area like base times perpendicular of a rectangle, so we can just divide that by 2 to have area of a right angle triangle. It's very simple. Now, it is also very important to know if you have base and you don't have the perpendicular, okay, or if you have perpendicular and you don't have the base, then of course you can determine one of these from the hypotenuse. How? Let me just explain it a little bit, okay? Let's say if we have a right angle triangle like this one, you have the hypotenuse, which is, let's say, 5, the perpendicular, which is, let's say, 4, but you don't have the base. And remember, in area, the right angle triangle's area can be 1/2 base times perpendicular. It means we need the base. That's why you can use the Pythagoras theorem. Are you guys familiar with the Pythagoras theorem, which is actually c square
Yes,
equals
sir.
a square plus b square? Now c is known and we need b. It means we're gonna just bring this guy over, like c square minus a square should be b square, okay? We can also take square root just to remove the square. It means b is going to be now the square root c square, which is 5. 5 that is 25 minus 4, which is 4 4s are 16. It means we're gonna have b, which should be 25 minus 16, and that is square root 9. It means we're gonna have 3. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the, you can say, base if you have perpendicular and then if you have the hypotenuse. An equilateral triangle, okay, it is a triangle with three sides equal to each other, and a very simple formula can be used: square root 3 by 4a square. A here is actually the side of the same triangle. Now square root 3 by 4, that can be actually 0.433, okay, and a, that is actually the side of this triangle. So this formula can be used, and a derivation is also available on my channel. If you guys need to derive this formula, I can also carry this guy on, but I think it is not important, okay, in the same course. You can also actually use area of a right angle triangle. If you remember, 1/2 a times h, if you have the perpendicular, okay, perpendicular, then of course you can just use this formula as well, no problem. All right, next we have the isosceles triangle, जिसमें of course two sides equal होते हैं एक दूसरे के and one base. Okay, so in order to determine area in a isosceles triangle, you can use, of course, the same thing which has been used for a right angle triangle, like maybe 1/2. We're gonna have base, and then we will multiply that with the height. Okay, so we can have area. Now remember, most of the time you don't have the perpendicular. You have to just work out that. And you can just work out that by using a Pythagoras theorem, because you have the base. Okay, you can take one side of the triangle. Let's say this side. It means you have the base, which is 1/2 of the base, and then you have one side. It means you can just calculate this side, which is perpendicular, okay? and you can do that just by using the Pythagorean theorem. All right, next we have the scalene triangle, and this is very important because if you have irregular shape like this one, maybe a land can be triangulated. Let's say I'm gonna triangulate this the same way like this, okay? This is called triangulation. Triangulations means just splitting or dividing the whole property into triangles. As you can see, we have these triangles, and it is very likely impossible just to draw a right angle triangle, or maybe to draw an equilateral triangle, or maybe just to draw a square, maybe just to draw a rectangle, okay? It is likely very, you can say, impossible to draw regular shapes in in irregular land, you can say, okay? That's why whenever you just triangulate a land, each triangle should be scalene triangle. That's the reason a scalene triangle is very important. So let's just determine area of a scalene triangle. The square root of s into s minus a is minus b. If you remember just few seconds ago, few minutes ago, we have just discussed this thing, okay? Now, s over here is actually the semi-perimeter. Perimeter mean just to add all sides. You can say a plus b plus c, and just divide that by 2, so you can have the you can say semi-perimeter of the same triangle. Now put s over there, and ABC, those things are actually the sides of the triangle, okay? And after doing some mathematics, you're gonna have the area of the scalene triangle. It's very simple thing, okay?